Ivory Coast's president says it will guarantee peace. People are voting for a new constitution he's put forward. The opposition says it will make it easier for him to consolidate power. So will this constitution bring stability or further turmoil? This is Inside Story. Hello there and welcome to the programme. I'm Laura Kyle. Voters in Ivory Coast have been casting their ballots in a referendum to approve a new constitution. President Alassane Ouattara says the changes are needed to help bring peace after years of conflict. Ivorians remain deeply divided along political and ethnic lines. The country has made progress since the end of its civil war. The International Monetary Fund says it will be Africa's fastest growing economy by the end of this year. But opposition parties are calling for a boycott of the vote. So we have a lot to get to with our guests in just a moment. First, this report from Nicholas Hack.
It's an electoral promise made by President Alassane Ouattara to make fundamental changes in the way this country is governed to ensure lasting peace. In the last decade, there have been two civil wars here, both triggered by contested results of presidential elections. Sally's home was destroyed in 2011 during Ivory Coast's second civil war. Her brother and other family members were killed. Today, she sells fried bananas on the streets to survive. Sally's disgusted with politics and she won't be voting in this referendum.
Look, what's important for me is getting food on the table for my kids and making a living. Politics is not for us.
There are a raft of changes to the constitution and some are controversial, like removing the age limit of 75 on candidates running for office. President Ouattara is 74 and the change will allow him to run again. The new text also requires only one parent of a presidential candidate to be Ivorian by origin. Ouattara has been barred from contesting elections in the past because of uncertainty about his father's nationality. The opposition says there are too many changes and not enough explanations. It's calling on people to boycott the vote.
We've been ignored. Ivorians are not really informed. There's been no debate for the change of such a fundamental and sacred text. The president is giving himself more power and is imposing his will.
It took just 2 days of debates in Parliament for the text to be voted in. The ruling party says the new constitution is needed to create social cohesion.
We want to build the new nation, because the problem in Africa is we don't respect the constitution because they are not very strong. We need in Africa a strong institution, not a strong person.
After 2 weeks of campaigning, it's now for the people to decide.
There's been a series of constitutional reforms and referendums in French-speaking West Africa and beyond. Heads of states asking people to take lasting decisions for their countries. Now here in Ivory Coast, many are confused, not knowing exactly what they're voting for.
Sally doesn't trust the political system. Referendum or not, those who can guarantee peace and the future of this country, she says, are not old politicians or new institutions, but the people. Nicholas Hack, Al Jazeera, Yopougon, Ivory Coast.
Let's bring in our guests now. In London, we have Issiaka Konate, Director General of the Ministry for Ivorians Abroad. In Paris, Issiaka, the European representative for the opposition Front Populair Ivoirien Party, or FPI. And in Washington, Kamissa Kamara, Senior Programme Officer for West and Central Africa at the National Endowment for Democracy. Welcome to all of you. We saw there in Nick's report, many Ivorians don't know why they're voting for these changes. So how about we break them down, discuss them and see if we can shed some light on the individual proposals. Issiaka, first of all, one of the most significant changes here is the removal of this stipulation that anyone who runs for president must have both parents who are Ivorian. Why is this so important?
Thanks for giving us the chance to talk about this. This is very important because when we had the civil war in Côte d'Ivoire, we went to Marcoussis in France in 2001. and all parties participating in the debate in Marcoussis agreed that there was a problem with the Constitution, that Article 35 needs to be removed from the Constitution, that we need to look forward to building a new nation. And the president has made a promise that he would deal with the issue. He wasn't able to do it in the first term. In the second term, he's looking at doing it so that Ivorian can live in the same country, that will walk away from this kind of purity of blood that Africa don't need. I think this is the right time to do it.
Georges, do you agree with that? I mean, this does, after all, affect a huge number of Ivorians.
Thank you for the opportunity you gave me to talk today. I'm agree of some part of what he said, because surely Marcoussis asked to review the constitution, but Marcoussis didn't ask to build a new constitution. So this is not the same thing. And Mr. Ouattara want to use these opportunities to build a new constitution for him and for his partisans. So we are not agree of the process.
But what about this particular point? Is this an opportunity to unify the country, unify Ivorians?
The Ivory Coast were in the crazy. So we want all of people forget this past, and we want to reconcile it. So if we want to build a new country, we have to work together. We have to associate all groups of social people for what we want to do. But what Ouattara do for the constitution is something he do for him. He didn't associate opposition. He didn't associate a group of social people, and nobody is concerned of what he doing.
Okay.
And how can you reconcile people like that? So it's not for Ivorian this constitution.
Okay, Camissa, can we broadly say then on this first point about the changes to the constitution that it is a good thing, but that it does allow Alassane Ouattara more opportunities to run again for president?
Yeah, so I think in theory, the constitutional changes or the constitutional referendum is definitely a good thing. However, as the first speaker mentioned, the process was definitely botched. I think it was done in a rush. Ivorians did not have the time to review the constitution. It was really an elite project. It's only the parliament that really approved it, and that paper was only available about a month ago. So I think in theory it was definitely a good thing. However, that issue with Ouattara wanting to remain in power remains to be confirmed. He definitely said that in 2020 he will not run again for president. However, the moves he's doing right now, it shows the opposite. The introduction of the position of a vice president is definitely seen as a move for him to pick his successor, and also the fact that he's removing the age limit on presidential candidates is definitely a sign that he might be positioning himself to run again in 2020.
Issiaka, your response to that? I mean, this removal of the age limit certainly points...
I have a few responses. First of all, going back to the point of talking about a rush, this is not correct. You're talking about Marcoussis happened in 2001. We are in 2016. Sorry, there's no rush in the new constitution. We have to, people have been consulted, even us were consulted, to consult the diaspora so that we can introduce articles about the diaspora. Regarding the age limit, I don't understand why we could stand here and also discriminate about a part of the population. These are the reasons why we went to war in the first place, because we strongly sometimes in Africa believe in discrimination. Let me remind you that in the year 90s, where democracy was coming to African countries, where they were talking about doing new constitution, what younger generations have usually done is go to countries and say, we need to make sure that people that used to run our country can't stand again. I don't think you built a country like that. I think because we also look at the minimum age requirement, which was 40 years of age, we went to 35. We're taking more people on board. So we have also removed the one at the top so that more people can stand. At the end of the day, if you stand for presidency, it's up to the people to decide, not for a few bureaucrats to decide where the country and who can stand for president. I think it's wrong. Constitution should be built for a country. It shouldn't be built for one individual or against an individual. We don't believe in that. I think the government is doing the right thing.
Why raise it by just 1 year?
We haven't raised it just by 1 year. He was 40 years of age in the past. We are now at 35.
No,
so
but you've risen it from 74 to 75.
No, 74. No, we haven't. There's no limit. There's no limit. So its minimum age requirement is 35, but on the top there is no limit.
George, do you accept that?
There is no limit. Yeah, of course you should.
Yes, you know, the problem of this constitution is why Mr. Ouattara wants quickly impose constitution to the people. We can take our time to discuss quietly and find the way, the requirement to which everybody agree. But in this constitution, Mr. Ouattara is deleted the limit of age, which was 75. Now there is no limit. That means if someone have 100 years, he can be president. It's not great. And also, we have a requirement for the health. Mr. Ouattara have deleted. So someone who have headache, who have a bad health can be president. This is not good. So we think we are not in a country which we need a strong people, but we need a strong constitution, a strong institution. So we have time to discuss. We have time to cancel all understanding, all problem from the past, from the crazy. And then we can find the way for a new constitution which agree with everybody. This is the meaning we want.
OK, Issiaka, I can see you've got some responses there. This issue of the constitutional referendum being rushed into place does seem to be reoccurring so far in our discussion. It has been proposed that it be delayed to 2017. Why wasn't that accepted?
Well, I'm sorry. I don't know why they keep saying that it was rushed. It wasn't. A committee was put in place. This committee has made consultation in the whole country, consulting people, taking their views into board and proposed a draft to the government. And that went again to the National Assembly. I don't understand. The FPI, they refused to, when we were doing the legislative election, they refused to go. They have themselves to blame for this. We wanted to build a country based on respect, and this is what we've been doing. As regard to the fact that they keep saying that President Ouattara wants to stand again, he said it times and times again. Ouattara is a man of his word, and they all know that in Côte d'Ivoire. When he says something, he does it. He says he's not standing, and the constitution is clear that a person can only have one term. I mean, this is all clear. So I don't understand it. Should we? And look who's talking. These are the people who brought us into a conflict where more than 3,000 people were killed. We're looking forward to taking more people on board. We can't keep saying that remove the old, remove the young, remove this person, remove the woman, and we're taking into consideration women. We're talking about right for workers. We're talking about equality between women and men. We're also talking about traditional chiefs who are being involved in the whole process in Côte d'Ivoire, which has never been done before. I think the new constitution, it's a great thing for my country, but the opposition needs to understand. If they don't agree with the constitution, it's a democracy. You go out, you vote no. If you agree with it, you go out and you vote yes. You don't go and break and burn buses on the street of Abidjan. You don't do that. Sorry, I don't believe in that.
Commissioner, that's quite a good point that Issiaka raises there. We've got an opposition boycott. Boycotting is not going to help, is it? You need to get out there and vote.
It is not. The boycott is definitely not going to help out. However, the boycott is being conducted based on the fact that, again, and I'm going to say it again, the constitutional revision process was rushed, meaning that the draft constitution was only available to Ivorian citizens a month ago. well, to be exact, 25 days ago. So when you say that the process wasn't rushed and that we have had a chance to look at it since 10 years ago, that is not accurate. I am sorry. I work with many civil society organizations on the ground, Ivorian civil society organizations that are not necessarily based in Abidjan. They're based throughout the country. And what they're saying is that they did not have the time to conduct civic education programs to inform the population on what changes they're going to vote for. So yes, this constitutional process was rushed. It was.
Well, sorry, I have to say, it's their view, it's their take on that. But I keep saying, we're talking about our country. This is our country. We say in the country, we had a constitution that took us to 3,000 people, more than 3,000 people killed. Should we wait and have more and more people killed before doing something about it? I mean, we are building a country, but well, sorry. So I mean, at least when I listen to you talking,
but however, you need to present a draft. A draft constitution needs to be presented based on national consultation. He could have taken 3 months. He could have taken 6 months. But a month is definitely not enough. It is not.
George,
let me tell you that. Even
let me just bring George in. He hasn't had a word for a while. George,
let me you know, yes. This constitution, Ouattara didn't consult anybody. He just paid 10 experts to build his needs. This constitution is the need from Ouattara. It's not from the constitution. And then when Mr. Issiaka said this draft it's from people, it's not true, because normally, before building a constitution, we have to create an assembly from the deputies, or create a group of people from the social group, and then everybody come to explain his needs. And after that, we can build the constitutions. But what the process of Ouattara is, he paid 10 experts and asked them to build a constitution from his needs. This is not from the people. This is one. And how can we solve the crazy? How can we solve the crazy from the past with this kind of practice? It's not good. And also, Mr. Ouattara didn't give time to the opposition to appropriate it. He didn't expand the contents of the constitution, why he wants a vice president, why he wants assembly senate, why he wants this, he didn't explain. And we didn't have time to make a sensibilization to the people. How to explain to people to go to vote for this constitution? How and when?
Issiaka, the fact is today, Issiaka, if I could just jump in here. Issiaka, the fact remains today, people are going to the polls. Voter turnout is already seen to be very low. People are disengaged in this process. So why is, in something so crucial as a change, so fundamental as a change to the Constitution, why was it not crucial for the government to engage people, to spend more time, to allow people to absorb this process?
Let me be clear about a few things. Professor Ouattara is one of the most advanced teachers of the University of Abidjan. There are 3 of them in Côte d'Ivoire. 2 of them participate in drafting the constitution. The committee was put in place. They consulted people. Even myself was consulted in regard to issues with the diaspora. Several people, traditional, the social areas of Côte d'Ivoire, people were regularly consulted on what needs to be in the constitution. They keep saying it's rush. They keep saying that we have to wait for the opposition. Hang on a second. When you were talking, I allow you to talk because I believe in democracy. And I can't say the same for you guys. You're talking about the people. These are the people who brought us the constitution in 2000, and few articles were changed overnight before the morning. And they're talking today about a rush constitution where a committee of experts like Professor Ouattara draft this constitution You're not talking about some people walking down the street being paid to do a constitution. You're talking about the best in the country that were chosen to propose a draft. That draft was taken to the government and to the National Assembly, now to the people of Côte d'Ivoire. This is democracy. You don't agree with it, you go out, you vote no. You make sure that people, I'm sorry, this is democracy.
Let's move on from this issue of whether or not it's been rushed, because the fact that we need to move on.
I'm sorry, because
no, but I do have one more point. It's very important.
Mr. Ouattara didn't
there was a consultation. We're not going to agree with that.
He just to receive people and give them the information that he wants to make a constitution.
Okay. We need to move on to the future after this referendum, because the fact is it's being held regardless of the run-up to it. And one, of course, the crucial key changes was this issue of national identity, contributing to years of unrest in the Ivory Coast. Now, including its first military coup, that was in 1999, led by General Robert Guy. A civil war in 2002 saw the country politically split between its north and south, and a post-election crisis in 2010 led to months of fighting. At least, as we've heard, 3,000 people were killed, millions more were displaced. Kamissa, this referendum on these constitutional changes, will it bring stability to the Ivory Coast or more unrest?
I think that there are definitely different views on that. Regarding the nationality clause, I think that it is definitely an important one. It is a key one. When you talk about any Côte d'Ivoire observers about the constitutional referendum, I think that the one clause that they will remember is definitely the nationality clause. So Côte d'Ivoire is one of the West African countries that has received or has been receiving the most migrants from the entire African continent for over 100 years. So definitely that nationality clause is inclusive. It will allow Ivorians who have been born in Côte d'Ivoire and who may have dual nationality to run for president. So it is definitely a good thing in theory. Will it bring peace? Will it bring stability? I think that we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Okay. Georges, the referendum is being held. It's likely to pass because of the opposition boycott. So what's going to happen next?
We boycott this referendum because we are not concerned. We are not concerned because Ouattara didn't associate opposition to the building of this constitution, so we are not concerned. And now, today is the day vote, and we observe in every part of country that people didn't go to vote. It is a big desert, electoral desert. There is nobody didn't go, and I think it's the score of the participation will be very, 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 very low. And all community will see that Ivorians are not concerned by this constitution, and Ouattara will be retired. Will be removed. We have to remove this constitution because
Issiaka,
nobody are concerned.
Issiaka, the constitutional changes are bringing huge unhappiness. How are you going to pacify these people?
Ouattara was elected for the second term by 86% of the vote. So he have the legal legitimacy to take on the new constitution for Ivory Coast. And I keep saying it, the opposition, they exclude themselves. There's part of the opposition, they're split. Even Mr. Aka, they should have a few branches of the FBI in France. They don't agree. They only agree with one thing, it's opposing. Saying no to every single thing in Côte d'Ivoire if Mr. Gbagbo is not out. We can't deal with issues like that. The country has to move forward. We want the country to move forward.
As far as unfortunately, we have run out of time. We are going to have to leave it there. It's such a contentious issue. Clearly, we will be talking about this again. We'll be revisiting this subject. For today, though, thank you very much to all our guests for taking the time to join us. Issiaka Konate, Georges Aka and Kamissa Kamara. And thank you too very much for watching. You can see the programme again anytime by visiting our website, that's aljazeera.com. And for any further discussion, do go to our Facebook page, that's facebook.com/AJ Inside Story. You can also join the conversation on Twitter. Our handle is @AJ Inside Story. From me, Laura Kyle, and the whole team here, bye for now.